And I call on Stuart Stevenson to wind up. Minister.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. This legislative consent motion is unusual in its extent. Key elements of the bill are within the legislative competence of this Parliament, but we must work with our UK partners. We must work within the framework of European Union initiatives, and we must work with everyone across the world on this subject. Let me just deal with one or two of the points that have been raised and see if I can get them all in. David Stewart correctly said climate change knows no boundaries. Our CO2 that goes in the atmosphere is almost certainly blown across the North Sea to Norway. What's in our atmosphere comes from other countries. We have a shared responsibility, and in seeking to share responsibility with the Westminster Government, I think we're taking a pragmatic and proper view of what we should do. The comment was made that aviation is not in the bill. That's certainly true. However, we are supporting the UK's attempts to ensure that aviation is included in emissions trading across Europe, and we will continue to do that. And I did speak to Jim Fitzpatrick about that, and in particular developed with him some of the issues that there would be for the smaller propeller-driven aircraft that run a number of our lifeline services. We will continue to track with Westminster changes to their bill as they're made. Alec Johnson, I think, subject to confirmation, was the first SNP member in opposition as a spokesperson to propose to our group that we should support the Sewell motion, which we did, and I spoke on that. So we are pragmatic in government as we were in opposition, and I'm sure that we'll continue to be so as we go forward. David Stewart and others made reference to the Scottish Bill. I don't recognise some of the things that have been said about the progress we're making. We have been working very intensively on the UK bill. We are working on our own bill, and indeed a very extensive consultation document will be published next month. I'm sure members will find it interesting, and I hope that all, not only as individuals and as political parties, will engage in the consultation process, but that they will encourage others to do the same. Because we cannot do this subject on a partisan basis. We can only
Excuse me, Minister, far too many conversations. Take your conversation outside the chamber. Minister.
Yes, I will.
Senator Boyack.
And I very much agree with Stuart Stevenson that we shouldn't be partisan about this, and we therefore accept that the Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, has already acknowledged that within the climate change bill there is the scope to increase the UK target from 60 to 80%, and that he is already looking at the science because he understands that the science is pushing us in that direction. So it is not a matter of partisan dispute in this chamber.
Minister.
The member makes an absolutely proper point, and indeed it's not about competing in the UK with the different targets that the different countries of the UK may have to set. They should reflect the opportunity that each country has and the challenge that they have. And each country has a different set of opportunities, a different set of challenges. In Scotland, we can be the renewables capital of Europe and make a particularly significant contribution through that. Alison McInnes seemed to suggest that ministers, myself I think she means, would not be accountable to Parliament for the progress made. We intend to show each year what is happening on climate change, and for the Minister to be accountable to the relevant committee and, of course, to Parliament. But I do say gently to Alison, when she talks about our increased roads budget, well, fair enough. Could she talk to Mike Rumbles? I did notice him earlier today encouraging me very actively to increase expenditure on roads. Patrick Harvey made the point that the bill has huge scope. Yes, I agree. He wants the UK to go further. Well, we've heard some indication that they may be prepared to do that, and we will work with them as they look at their targets. But of course, over the period to 2050, when both the UK and Scotland are seeking to set their targets. We will learn more about the science. We will learn more about what's possible. We will understand more of the opportunities that there are. But what we have to do in the context of this LCM is to ensure that we, as we go forward, determine Scotland's response to the challenge of climate change. I believe this government, in setting an 80% target, which we'll be consulting on next year, is showing the leadership that is expected. We have been congratulated by Al Gore, and we will deliver on what we have to do for the world, what we have to do for Scotland, and as a 104-year-old Stuart Stevenson in 2050 hopes to be around to see us deliver.